Will you look at this? All of a sudden, there's momentum to restore voting rights for felons in 12 different states where they are denied voting rights after they serve their time. They serve their time, oftentimes they serve their probation, their parole, and afterwards they still don't get their voting rights restored. Now that's outrageous, and in fact, that affects 1 out of 13 African Americans. Isn't that amazing? They can't vote in the country. 1 out of 13, that's a giant number. In states like Florida and Virginia, it affects 1 out of 5 African Americans. They've already served their time. They've already, whatever justice they, needed to be done was done. Whatever injustice needed to be done based on stupid drug charges for black people and white people has already been done. They should get all their rights back, and normally they don't get their voting rights back. So now the American people are sick of it. Apparently Attorney General Eric Holder is sick of it. And wait, hold for it. And Republican Senator Rand Paul is sick of it. What is this? So here we go. First, American people. Right now, first of all, the number is 5.8 million Americans are denied the right to vote because at some point they were convicted of a felony. Even though they've served their time, they're still not allowed to vote. So that's a big number of Americans denied the right to vote, about 2% of the country, which is amazing, right? Opinion on voting rights for convicted felons has swung, though, and the American people think they should get their rights back. How many people think that they should permanently lose the right to vote? Only 21%. That is not a large number. How many people think they should lose their voting rights while serving sentences? 50%. So that's obviously where the lion's share is. Say, okay, while you're serving your sentence, you lose your voting rights, but when you get out, you get them back. And 17% say they shouldn't lose them even when they're in prison. So that's an interesting number. Now, part of the reason for that is because we have imprisoned so many people. In fact, 1/3 of the respondents in this HuffPost YouGov poll said they had at least one close friend or family member who had been convicted of a felony. Isn't that amazing? What a gigantic number that is. 1/3 of the country knows someone who's been convicted of a felony, a close friend or family member. That's because we're locking everybody up. Oh, you smoked pot, we're going to lock you up. Jaywalking, lock you up. You owed money for a video rental you didn't return, we're going to lock you up. That's literally a story we did yesterday. We lock everybody up. That's why everybody now is saying, no, you shouldn't lose your rights forever based on getting a felony that you already did your time for. So now, here comes Attorney General Eric Holder, who had been, in my opinion, very reluctant to take strong and significant action in the first term, now already taking some action on mandatory minimum sentences, especially in the case of drugs, and now beginning to take action on this issue. Let's listen.
It's time to fundamentally reconsider laws that permanently disenfranchise people who are no longer under federal or state supervision. These restrictions are not only unnecessary and unjust, they are also counterproductive. By perpetuating the stigma and isolation imposed on formerly incarcerated individuals, these laws increase the likelihood that they will commit future crimes. However well-intentioned current advocates of felony disenfranchisement may be, the reality is that these measures are at best, profoundly outdated. At worst, these laws, with their disparate impact on minority communities, echo policies enacted during a deeply troubled period in America's past, a time of post-Civil War repression. And they have their roots in centuries-old conceptions of justice that were too often based on exclusion, animus, and fear. And although well over a century has passed since post-Reconstruction states used these measures to strip African Americans of their most fundamental rights, the impact of felony disenfranchisement on modern communities of color remains both disproportionate and unacceptable.
Damn! Not only saying this issue is important and is an injustice, but it disproportionately affects minorities, African Americans. I feel like in the first term they would have been scared to talk about that issue. It's clearly correct, and I love that they brought it up. It's absolutely true. And in fact, he even intimated there that, hey, they might be doing it on purpose. Not just that, oh, whoops, golly gee, we happen to lock up a lot of black folks because of these ridiculous, mandatory minimums and the drug laws, etc., but that perhaps that's part of their purpose. That's a strong speech, man. All right, all of a sudden, Holder. I was going to say Holder's back, but he was never there to begin with, so he has now appeared. Great, all right, the battle is joined. But here's what's the interesting part. The battle is joined also by Rand Paul. In Kentucky, Kentucky is one of those states that 1 out of 5 African Americans have had their voting rights taken away. Now, Rand Paul, you know, with his comments about the Civil Rights Act, didn't appear to be someone you would expect to care about that issue, but he does. And it's, of course, not just because it affects African Americans, it affects a lot of people in Kentucky, right? Like I said, a third of the whole country knows someone convicted of a felony and knows them well. So here's Senator Rand Paul. He says, I'm in favor of letting people get their rights back, the right to vote, Second Amendment rights, all your rights to come back. So since he's a Republican, he's got to throw the Second Amendment thing in there like, oh, don't get me wrong. These felons, okay, they can vote again, and we'll give them a sawed-off shotgun, too. I'm not sure I agree with that part, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, one people have, no, and don't get me wrong. Look, you know, on the issue of gun control, we might disagree with Rand Paul. But on the issue of getting all of your rights back once you've served your term, we totally agree, okay? And he goes on to say, I know of one man who 30-some-odd years ago had pot plants in his closet in college, got a felony conviction in college, still can't vote, and it's plagued him his whole life trying to get work. Well, bless your heart, brother, that's true. And I'm glad he's bringing this up. And he's right about the issue of drugs as well. He went on to say, 1 in 3 young black males has been convicted of a felony and they've lost their voting rights. I think it dwarfs all other election-related issues. Damn. Civil rights leader Rand Paul. I don't know if I'd go that far, but he's on the right side here. I'm going to move Rand Paul up, man. I vehemently disagree with him obviously on a lot of issues. But I'm moving him up to being right on about 25% of the issues, which shatters all records for Republicans. Give the guy credit where credit is due. And by the way, he's not taking a radical step. The people of Kentucky clearly agree with him. When they did a poll within Kentucky, 51% favor restoring rights for felons, especially voting rights in this case, and 38% opposed. Now, that ought to do it if you lived in a democracy, but usually, unfortunately, our national politicians don't give a damn what their actual voters think. So in this case, the people of Kentucky agree, the people of America agree, Republican senator agrees, Democratic attorney general agrees, great. And by the way, Rand Paul, to give him more credit, has also spoken out on the same things that Holder's spoken out, including mandatory minimums. He said, mandatory minimums have trapped a lot of people, made them felons, made it hard for them to get jobs for nonviolent crimes. He's also, of course, concerned about the cost of all that to the taxpayers, because we're locking up a lot of people and spending a ton of money doing that, and he's right about that as well. And he says, to top it off, we went crazy on the war on drugs. We have people in jail for life for nonviolent drug crimes. I think this is a crime in and of itself. Damn. The battle is joined. Politicians in this country and government officials making sense and agreeing with the American people? Wow, what is this world coming to? All right, I'll take it. Now, of course, the laws have not shifted yet and they have not changed yet, but this is how you begin to change them. So great to have these allies on our side.